You know what? I thought Ronnie had a shot at winning. Obviously, we went in hoping that every one of my guys would have a shot at winning. But going in, I mean, the three favorites that everybody was talking about was, Ronnie, Victor, and Jay. And so, I mean, any one of those guys, I think, was in striking distance. After the call-outs, it was obvious where things were headed. So I knew after prejudging that things, because of the comparisons, and I know that the judges really mixed things up at the prejudging, really to kind of confuse everybody, which was obviously probably good for the sport and keep everybody guessing and stuff. But I kind of had an idea that it wasn't going the way we wanted it to. But at the end, I think that Ronnie was happy with his conditioning. We put everything into everything this year, making sure that we were at least happy with how we done everything this year. And I think how Ronnie handled himself at the end of the day was just world class. And I think that like I said, the speech and just how honored he was being Mr. Olympia and everything. I think at the end of the day, I think he was very happy with what he had done and everything. And so I think we were pleased with it, and I think he, no matter what, he's got 8 Sandows. He's going to go down in history as the best Mr. Olympia ever. We've, taken several shows to figure out his physique. In the off season, we made a few little minor adjustments and stuff, and his physique, I think, is headed in the right direction. I think that he presented the best Victor Martinez ever, and I think that what we did in the off season was keep him a little bit leaner and do some things, putting on quality muscle, but just nice, gradual, slow, hard workouts, good work ethic. And I think we've got a winning formula, and we don't have any intentions of changing that. If he adds 5-6 pounds of muscle this off season, it'll be just that much better next year. But right now, we're very happy with where we're at and what we're doing. It was very blatant that he was obviously the best man. It was very blatant that he was the winner of the contest. Unfortunately, he didn't walk away with the gold and the check and the Sandow. So, sometimes you look back and you're like, what do I have to do? I think that, as far as regrouping and stuff, there wasn't anything else we could have done. Jay was blatantly off, and, Victor was 100% on the money. And when everything is said and done and you start analyzing, where everybody was and, where everybody was placed, you just can't really figure out where things, were at. I mean, why things were placed. I don't think that Jay absolutely deserved it. He was not at his best, and in my opinion, you could arguably say that he was possibly at his worst. And he wasn't any better tonight than he was when he was placing 11th and on down. I mean, it was the same physique. And I mean, I've never been a person to complain and bitch about the stuff. My guys have won and they've lost, and I've taken it, and we went back and stuff. But tonight was tough because for me to be able to deal with it and to accept it, I would like to be able to justify how Jay got there. And I've went over that in my head 1,000 times, and I can't really justify how Jay got there. After the prejudging, he was supposedly, winning, and I don't understand how he could possibly be winning. Dennis Wolf, I thought, was spectacular. I think that he's got a bright future if he does everything nice and slow and continues to move forward like he has been over the past year or so. He's going to be a major threat, come 1 year, 2 years from now. I think that you're honestly going to hear a lot of people saying that was possibly the worst physique to ever win the Mr. Olympia. That's not a bash on Jay, because when Jay's at his best, I think he's a phenomenal athlete. But when he's at his worst, he's not a great athlete, just like anybody would be. So I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, he was blatantly off Friday night, and not a little bit off, but tremendously off, and he still won. Still won that round. I mean, he still was ahead after prejudging. So I have no idea. I mean, it's one of those things that's disappointing with the sport. Well, I mean, obviously, I would have had Victor winning the show. I would have loved to seen, Ronnie in the top three. But I think Dexter Jackson was phenomenal. I think Dexter Jackson, belonged right beside Victor Martinez and absolutely ahead of Jay. I could have understood them, out of respect, maybe keeping Jay maybe in second place, although he didn't deserve to be there. I couldn't have imagined him being any higher than third place. And I looked at the pictures that had been leading up to the show. And it was actually one of the reasons why we didn't post pictures, because I felt that Jay was not on his game, and I felt that they kept acting like he was on his game, but I could blatantly see by the photos that he wasn't on his game. So it was kind of like one of those things where I didn't want to show my cards, because I knew where Victor was, I knew where Ronnie was, and I knew that Jay was vulnerable going into the show. I'd seen his body go up and down so much in the pictures. It's hard to say. I mean, looking at the pictures, it looks like to me that Jay came way down, realized that he was coming down way too much, so tried to come back up, and then maybe tried to come back down again. I don't really know, and obviously only Jay knows what he did. But it was definitely one of the worst showings Jay's had. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And I think it's gonna be hard pressed to find somebody that literally thinks that Jay should have won. I think, it was a sellout audience because there was so much, controversy, and not controversy in a bad way, but in a good way, leading into the show. Was Ronnie going to regain the championship? Was Jay going to, repeat? You had Victor in there. Was Victor going to, interrupt all their glory? And so you had all this stuff going on, and that's what people wanted to see. What they saw was a Mr. Olympia in possibly the worst shape of the history of the sport win. Most people, and I heard him talking as we were leaving, they're like, listen, I could have saved $3,000 and paid $40 and watched it on the webcam. It's definitely good for Victor. I mean, it's good and bad. I mean, everybody obviously is going to think that he should have won. Everybody is going to put him up on that pedestal as the best athlete probably in the world right now.